Hey, everybody.
How we
Happy
doing?
Thursday.
Whoop, whoop.
I'm
Cheers to
glad
that.
to be back. Cheers,
Man,
guys.
It's
been
a
forever.
Minute. It's been a minute. Welcome, everyone. Welcome.
Thursday Night Live.
This is going to be an interesting one.
What is this stuff? What are we doing tonight? What is this?
If you look on
Live
the
screen?
where Sean normally sits, but he moved over. Those are different whiskeys that we have that were awarded or they were rated in the International Wine and Spirits Competition.
Oh, that's the topic for tonight's show, isn't it?
It is.
Okay.
That's a
Wow.
coincidence, isn't it?
That's a good segue there.
It
It's a
is.
big list.
Nice.
It's a
Yeah,
lot of
List.
information.
So-
we're gonna go through that list for
So
sure.
we're going to go through the 2023 International Wine and Spirits Competition, and tonight we're only going to hit the Scotches because there are so many spirits in there that there's no way we can do that in one show.
It's a lot.
So we're going to hit the Scotch because that's our specialty. But first, who do we have in?
I don't know. Let's say hi to all these great people in our chat tonight. And a special hello to our podcast listeners if you're listening.
Yes.
Appreciate you guys.
Actually, I have a guy at work that's listening to my podcast on his way to work now. So
It's
awesome.
really good.
Also me.
I listen
You
to it in the
too?
car sometimes.
Yeah.
Kind of weird listening to yourself, but anyway.
Well, it's more of a critique than it is like,
yeah.
I
Well,
pretty
that's
much remember what we talked about, but just in case.
Especially at the end of the show, memory tends to fade a little.
Yeah, that's
Well,
very much true. Like, what was I thinking?
And a lot of times it'd be like Mark and I in some sort of side conversation, and I go back and I'm like, what did Andrew say about that? 'Cause I don't remember. Or good Dr. Scotch information that I want to brush up
Yeah,
on.
there's some
So
good-
There's
there's some-
definitely reasons to go back and
Yep.
listen.
paying attention to. But anyway, Mystery Girl was in. Thank you for the thumbnail today. Good to see you in. Stephen Richard, happy Thursday. We got Tom R, of course. Yes, another live show. Woohoo!
There we go.
Yep.
Paul M is in. Cheers, everyone. Eric Waite. He said he's never heard of IWSC.
Well, that's because you haven't been to the website because it took me forever to find what IWSC stands for on the website.
Oh,
That's
yes,
all they
I
talk
have.
about.
Yes, I have. He says. It's
Yeah.
International Wine.
Too
and
many
Spirits.
acronyms.
Yeah, you're
Their
right.
website is terrible. So you have to go like into the About Us to find out what IWSC
Honestly, you're right
means.
because I was double checking. I'm like, I think I know what it is, but it's not clear. You
No,
have
it
to
is
search
not.
for it.
That is
No, it is not.
Which is kind of like bad user experience.
that's what I
web
think, too.
editors, fix your site.
Yep.
Anywho, Mike Tuza, good to see you. Good evening, everyone. Trooper Henry, woo woo.
Time for a dream. Bucklinger,
Yeah.
Alan, Chad.
Check on
Chad's
that.
in. Brandon's in. There's Everwin. Hello, ahoy,
Everwin.
mates.
Martin, good to see you, bro.
Malt Mini.
Good old George is in the house. Wheelhouse Whiskey.
Chuck.
Zach
like it.
Andrews.
Looks like a good group.
I heard
There's Boomer too.
there's a little whisper going around that Zach's cutting his hair soon.
No.
What?
Yes. We'll have to talk to him about the after show. But yes,
Don't do it, man.
He's doing it. Tom says a quality video and audio. That's great to know. Great to know. We see Jim DBC. Who else? Bob H. Who's
Cheers to
guy?
that guy.
All right, guys. So we said hi to everyone. Thank you all for being here. One last thing I do want to say. I just saw him pop him there. There he is. It's good to see this guy.
Cheers to that guy.
Look at this.
Look what we got in the mail from
Yeah.
this guy, by the way.
Little rock
Very
oyster.
nice.
Yeah. Gotta open that.
We
maybe later.
appreciate
We'll talk
it,
to that in
man.
a little bit, but thank you so much for sending that. But guys, tonight's topic.
IWSC.
We've got a spreadsheet we're going to share here in a little bit, but it's
I kind of want to, like, you dove into this a little bit more,
I
like the
did.
judging and stuff, and I'm curious about that aspect.
Yeah. So
of it.
there are many spirit competitions. So I even Googled what's the reputation of IWSC? Is it like just a fly by night organization or is it something more? But it's actually one of the most prestigious. There's a
Mhm.
couple up there that are right there, and it's kind of right up there with them because one of the things that's unique about it is their tasting panel has hundreds of people on it. And they get hundreds of whiskeys every year, hundreds of spirits. So they do everything from wine to spirits under their spirits, they have rum and they have mezcal and they have mixers and they've got low alcohol content things. And it's crazy the amount of stuff they have. And it all needs to get shipped to London for them to distribute out to their tasting groups. And it takes months. It's like 6-month process to get the whole process through for all the tastings they do. So I think that's really interesting that it's, and the thing is, so I actually pulled up a website of one of the guys that is one of the, on the committee, the judging committee. And he was talking about kind of the process, and they have between 5 and 6 people on each committee, and the committees get a stack of whiskeys. They go through them blind, silently at first. And then everybody scores and takes notes and has to score it. And then they talk about them individually to say, and then they discuss. And so, okay, this is what I got. This is what you got. This is my score. This is your score. And they have to come up with a combined score. So the number you see on the website is kind of a consensus score of 5 to 6 tasters.
Oh, okay. That's good.
So it's a somewhat of a hybrid. I mean, it's kind of like ours. We get an average score between the Scotch for Dummies. So like you
Why
get an
wouldn't
average
they
score.
just average the scores?
Well, because
That's what I
because
was
there's
wondering,
discussion
like-
that I mean, okay. So part of the thing is each whisking panel is devised of 5 or 6 people from within the industry. So everywhere from Richard Patterson to a bar owner, to a whiskey ambassador, to a brand ambassador, to a head master distiller. So there's a wide range of people that are on these committees. So maybe some of the younger tasters need a little education or, something like that to kind of discuss on a final score. And apparently there's even a thing where if they can't decide on a score, that whiskey goes to another committee to get a final score. So it is pretty blind, and the beauty of it is it's blind. So when you look at these lists of these scores and the what got gold, what got silver, so it doesn't make a whole lot of sense generally it does, but there are a few whiskeys that seem to be way out of category. But that may be just because they had a different score that tasted that bottle this year because it's different. So
fair enough.
So it's a long process.
It is a long process. It's very involved. I know but the thing is to get into this competition, essentially you have to send like 2 or 3 bottles of your whiskey plus 140 pounds. And then they manage all of it from that perspective.
I mean, think about what we do when we taste things, and I know it's different for the professionals. They spit it out, do different things, but God,
Yeah.
that's you have to have a lot of time just to be able to take breaks and clean your palate and the story.
Yep.
I mean, and then the professionals, I know they can do better, but man, that's got to take forever. To
Yeah,
go
it would be
that.
interesting. I don't know if it's all done in London or can they do, send samples and do Zoom discussions on it. I don't know how they get 400 people together in London do the tasting.
Yeah,
So
you have to be able to.
I think there's got to
Over
be
a period of that's a long time to go through all those. That's not a one-day deal.
And not everybody tastes every whiskey.
Right.
I mean, it's like you're getting the peated todays or something,
Well, when I was looking through it, I was noticing the different, kind of breakdowns of categories and whatever. And I would think that you would just focus in on a category or two.
I would think so. Yeah. You do a tasting panel of maybe 2 or 3 whiskeys at a time. Then you do a tasting, make all your notes. And then once everybody's gone through it, then you start to talk about it.
Which is, I mean, it's a lot. Like it's a lot.
And that's where I have to give integrity because we know how tough blind tastings are.
Oh,
and then doing a blind tasting with committee with people with so different backgrounds.
Yeah.
I mean, and then trying to figure out a final score. Who do you think wins that final score? The master distillers or the bar owner?
that makes you wonder
I
too.
don't know.
Like,
I know some salty bar owners
Well,
that would put up a good.
I have to say, and we all know some brand ambassadors that are really good and they really know their whiskey and they can really pull out flavor. So it's not.
It's probably as much politics as anything else, right? Like I really like number B or whatever.
Yep.
And I really want to see that get a good score. And so I'm going to talk about it, a little more passionately than I am the other one.
And that's the thing. They're all blind and there's not a ranking. You just give it a number and then the number sets its ranking.
But there's 2 things that come to mind for me, and just trying to be agnostic and not think about what you're drinking. Right. That's got to be something that I guess they do well. Cause I know when we do things, I'm always trying to is that a Condronic? What is that? Right.
Yeah. Don't do that.
Don't do that.
You just give it a number.
And also just like to your point earlier about profile and your palates, like you're a peated guy. You like, that's your thing, right? Are you going to, I mean, if you're doing awards, I'm sure you've taught yourself not to be biased, but I mean, how do you not give yourself a stronger opinion on a peated whiskey versus a non-peated, like score wise? Like, how do you?
There is a specific training course that all the judges go through every year to set the basics. It's scored from, essentially, I think it's scored from the classic 80 to 100 score that you do for whiskey competitions, that nothing gets below 80.
That always cracks me up.
Nothing gets to 100.
You mean 1 to 20?
And yeah. And basically, I think that from what I can tell, the scoring is a bronze medal is below 90. Silver is 90 to 95-ish, 94-ish maybe. And then gold is 95 to 97-ish. And then the outstanding gold is 98, maybe 97 and up. So then there were a couple of 99s this year and a couple of 98s. So there are a few whiskeys that really stood out among the crowd.
It cracks me up every time we talk about these whiskey competitions, and they're like, all right, well, it goes to 100, but the lowest score you can get is an 80.
Yeah.
Like, you can't get anything lower than an 80. I don't understand. Like,
it's kind of like going through 1, 2, 3, 4.
Because 100%
everybody
is
starts
perfect.
out at a B.
Yeah.
Everybody gets a B.
That's the worst score you can get is a B. You made whiskey,
It just
you get a
resonates
B.
better. It resonates better when
If
you
you
have
made
100.
if you made a really good whiskey, we'll give you an A. It's
Yeah.
not that hard, right? Like, it's a step up. It's not hard. But I would say, do you think that as a scorer, like, I'm intrigued by the fact that they use a panel, and I'm also intrigued by the fact that they don't go publish like, well, these 5 guys sat down and gave a crappy score to this whiskey, right?
Well, they do. If you can go into each of these whiskeys and see who judged it.
But can you?
You can,
really?
but you don't know
miss.
who scored what. But yeah, every whiskey on this
So
list,
you can see who was on the
you
panel.
can click
that
on
scored
who
it.
was the panel that judged it. Yeah. And
But
Richard
do you
Patterson's
think
in
that
most
you
of
would
them.
give a more honest score, even if, so let's say the 4 of us were sitting here scoring whiskeys,
Mhm.
but nobody would ever know that you gave it a 2 and I gave it a 4.
I don't know.
Do you
'cause
think you would be more honest about it?
I mean,
If all they were going to see was our average?
yeah, I don't know. I mean, probably. It's
I-
an interesting. So there's a couple of comments that are coming in that are really interesting. So everyone asked a question. I think you're on top of it right now. Yeah. So with whiskey judging, do you like what you like? Otherwise, how do you judge? I know when I participated on a beer tasting panel several years ago, and there were criteria. Now, I don't know about this whiskey competition, so I can't tell about that. But with beer tasting competitions, you submit in a style. So it's an
Right.
American IPA, or it's a American ale, or it's a stout, oatmeal
Which is
stout, or
what
whatever.
they did here.
And then that profile has certain characteristics. So then you judge based on those characteristics. Now, this one, I don't know if it's that clear. I mean, is there characteristics of a peated Scotch? Well, that's a little
Well, they
There's
kind of
such a-
split some hairs.
Yeah.
Because they had like, it
Lightly
got down to
peated.
like lightly peated cask finish. If it was cask strength. I mean, they split a bunch of hairs, blended versus single malt, peated, lightly peated, unpeated.
So they gave the judges in that category and said, these are the lightly peated. So they had an idea.
They
of
would
what,
have to. You'd
right?
have to compare apples to apples, I would think.
Yeah, I don't know if they told them what category they were getting, because I think all they got was an ABV and like a region, or like whether it be Scotch or a Japanese or anything like that. I think they got very little information.
Yeah, but if you
But they
put
would
like
still have to get.
I would recommend you give
Some
them all
kind of,
lightly peated
you
in one
have to.
tasting.
Can you imagine putting an Ugadale versus like a Highland Park and say which one's better peat? I mean, that's not fair. Like, you wouldn't. Well,
Correct.
so you have to kind of at least give them in the wheelhouse, if you will.
I would think that you would want to give them kind of like your beer tasting. You
Yeah.
would want to give them like these are the
all the-
characteristics that we
right.
recognize as a lightly peated Scotch.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And so you base it off of that, and then at some point the subjective taste takes over, and
Yeah.
that's what gets you your extra bonusy points.
That
Right.
makes sense.
So it's a lot. Do we want to talk about some of these surprises?
Let's
or,
do that. But first,
ones
let's
that weren't a
pause and
surprise?
do a little celebration here from Tom.
Oh,
Tom
Little
R.
super chat.
Thank you,
Tom.
sir.
cheers to that guy.
Congratulations on
Cheers
the,
to my
wrench.
whiskey family.
Hmm.
So Tom, that's a great There aren't bad whiskey, only Scotch that you don't enjoy yet. Yeah, I've converted a few people to Pete, Bob H.
There are bad whiskeys.
Bob H.
Well,
is
that's true.
definitely into the Lagavulin
That's
now.
There's not a bunch of them, but they're out there.
Yeah, White Walker isn't a good whiskey. Scotch Blue, I think it's not too bad, but these guys are
It was uneventful.
uneventful.
I've got a couple others in mind as well. So yeah, anything that tastes like nail polish, not a fan.
White
of.
Walker,
Not a fan.
Nope.
Connemara.
right, so let me go ahead and share the spreadsheet, guys, and get that up here. Okay, and I'll bump this down to the bottom.
So Drew was able to pull the CSV file off the website and was able to do this. So we can sort through these anyway.
Hopefully you guys can read it. I can zoom in if need be. Let me know.
If you watch it on your phone, it may be a little small, but
yeah, we'll talk through it.
And I don't know if we're going to be able to see the comments doing that, but if you have questions, let's do that. So where do you want to start? You want to start with some of the?
You want to go to bronze?
Yeah, let's start with bronze. So I think the bronze was, and they don't disclose that. Did they give a medal to everyone? So the bronze is kind of the thanks for showing up medal. I don't know, but let's hit some of these bronze ones, and it's a little surprising.
I gotta think if you're going to the trouble of like sending in 3 bottles and paying your dues and stuff, that they're gonna at least give you an 80, right? Like,
well, yeah, I mean, you can't get
it's
any
not
below.
really prestigious.
No, and ISW or IWSC bronze is probably not that impressive unless I don't know, it maybe not be, but so let's look at some of these bronzes.
Sure.
Now you highlighted some that are interesting.
Well, I mean there, and then we talked before the show started, like there's quite a bit on here, and I feel like we've had our share of scotches and understanding of what's out there, and there's so much on here I've never heard of. Yeah,
one of the things that's interesting is they do, if you go to the website, you can sort by market as well. Like, is it available in the US market? Is it UK or is it China? There's a couple markets you can choose from. So it's the website is really great. I don't even know what is the ISWC.com.
Just search for
International Whiskey. Yeah. 23 results.
So this is sorted right now. Bronze, I think it's by score is sorted.
Yeah.
So I guess we're getting into peat and unpeated, and then we're getting into blended malt, etc. So we've got name, we've got producer, the year, which is obviously 2023, and then different categories here, the score, and then the medal. So we got ABV too, but I don't think it's that big of a deal here.
No.
So I don't want to go through all of these, but I want to call out some ones here. And if you've got some questions in the chat, like, shockers as well, or this is absolutely, you guys need to have this one, because there's quite a few in here again I've never heard of.
So Grant's is a really common, especially in France, they're a really common blended whiskey, blended Scotch, and so there are several Grants in there here. William Grant brothers there, Grant Triplewood, Royal Salute. So this is interesting, that Royal Salute 21.
I think, is that the one, the bottle over there, or is that
the one that's in the
blue bottle right there next to it?
Yeah, the ceramic empty, bottle got a bronze.
Grab that Dewar's too.
I think they got a pretty good score from us. Now there are some other Royal Salutes that are far higher up in the ranking. That's the 21. That's what.
But it's not the lost.
Oh, okay.
Oh, gotcha.
Right. So
the other 21 is on the gold.
Gotcha.
This one is on.
Oh, okay. So if you
that was a really good bottle. I don't think it was terribly expensive.
It wasn't crazy. No, I think we gave it some comparable to the double. It was comparable to the Johnny Blue a little bit.
Yeah, I think so.
Johnny Walker Green.
Right? Yeah, Johnny Walker Green. That's a pretty good whiskey. It got some great scores, but didn't show up too well here. Monkey Shoulder, again, we gave a great score. Now we gave it a value.
That's the
score.
Smoky Monkey.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Oh yeah, that's a Smoky. The other one actually, I think got silver.
Oh, okay. So the Smoky Monkey, which we
I have had it.
Okay.
Do we have? And it was. I tried a sample of it, and it's been years ago. I don't remember it being quite as good as the normal Monkey Shoulder. It just kind of lost a step on that, trying to get a little bit more smoke in their mix.
I bet it would be good in the penicillin though.
I mean, everything's good
or in an old fashioned. I can use that in old fashioned, smoky old fashioned. All right, keep on rolling.
Rock
through here.
Island, isn't that?
No, this is
No,
Rock
Rock
Oyster.
Oyster.
This is Douglas Lang.
So I'm gonna go through these real quick. So
Yeah,
this
look at
is
these.
what
Look at
look at
these.
these guys.
So
These
the,
guys.
the Ardbeg Ugadale, which is one of our favorite Ardbegs, is a bronze. So,
I'm not buying it.
well, that's concerning. The question,
To be fair, though, it's an 89, so it's almost a silver.
yeah, but is there anything below 89 on this list?
I don't know, man.
It doesn't look like it.
It's almost.
So,
I mean-
Deanston 10 Bordeaux Red. I mean, that's a good whiskey.
That's a
too.
good whiskey too. Yeah.
Look
Look at the Tomatal. Now we've had a couple of those bottles,
And
they're okay.
I mean, they're decent. I don't know. I mean, that's probably a bronze.
but
Not gonna lie.
the thing is that bottle, and I don't know exactly the 10-year-old, but
Got the same
Ugadale?
score.
What?
No.
That's not right.
Or that Deanston. That's a good
That
bottle.
Deanston's
Yeah,
really
that was-
good
that's pretty
too.
tasty.
So
So-
I don't know about those,
How
but
about a 23-year-old Tobermory?
Yeah,
yeah,
I bet they were disappointed with
roasted.
that.
To be fair, I've had some scotches with, older
sure.
age statements that weren't everything I hoped they would
Yeah,
I mean the
Uh,
25
be. Yeah.
Bean.
Yep.
yeah.
Those just kind of unidimensional, but
Yeah.
what are you gonna do?
Let me pause real quick and check out the comments, make sure nothing's going crazy over there. Yeah, 55 in Cali. So what's Royal Salutes? Yeah, they're not that bad actually. They're kind of cheap.
Smoky Monkey, Tessie Monkey Show with
would be a B
Colila.
as
Yeah,
well,
that's
Sean.
true.
Yeah, that seems fair.
fair.
All right.
So Dura 14 rye.
Oh, interesting. Rye cask. So then there's Old Pulteney 10, which I don't know if we've ever
I don't
had.
think
the-
I've ever had the
that
10.
must not be in the U.S. market. I don't think that's a
Mm-mm.
U.S. market one.
And these are all unpeated. Yeah, unpeated. Right. Okay, gotcha.
Can do
16
8-year-old.
French
Come on
oak.
now.
That sounds delicious.
So here's the Glenmorangie 10-year-old.
Yeah, the original. Yeah,
That whiskey comes out swinging.
yeah, it does.
There's some
that's a-
distilleries on here that I'm like, I'm sorry, that's not in the right spot.
I mean, that Glenmo did
But
so
God-
well for us in our fights, and we constantly.
Surprisingly well.
It is such a good one now. But I guess I'm trying to say is it worthy of a silver or gold though? I don't think so. I think it's right where it's close to where it needs to be
Well,
in the grand scheme of diversity.
I don't
But
know.
it's-
I mean, what-
it's pretty damn good though.
What other, we should go and look and see what other stuff it was up against in the unpeated.
well, all those right there. I mean,
Well,
you're looking-
that's the bronze. What's
Yeah.
in silver and
yeah.
gold?
There's a ton of silvers. So that 90,
we'll come back to
the
that.
91 to the 90 to 94 category is so
Good
high.
Lord, the spoon hob is so good.
No, that is that the cast strength.
No,
Okay, so that's the that's a
That's a
bronze.
bronze.
this is the one. Yeah, it's a bronze. We haven't talked about it yet, but this won for us, didn't it?
Yeah, I did. I guess maybe they don't want us on their
and we
tasting
aren't the
panel.
only one
No.
that one got the call back.
Yeah.
It did. It did.
All right, keep going. Neck door. Okay.
Neck door.
That's it.
Yep.
Venmo.
Which I think that one's unique. I mean, it's very.
That
unique
one's
to-
probably my least favorite of the
I would
lineup.
agree with you on that. Yeah.
It's
be
an
honest.
acquired taste. So
Whiskey.
Guinea bronze
Wait,
is
wait.
probably good.
Line 160. Whiskey of Voodoo, Mask of Death, 10-year-old. Wow, that's a unique name there.
I don't
And
I
it's
don't
not
think
peated?
voodoo and scotch go together.
Generally not. No.
I'm just gonna throw that out there.
Black Bull, and I just had some of
Yeah,
that.
we had Black Bull. That was pretty tasty.
That actually was pretty good. I feel like, this list makes me feel better about what we do because I question some of our decisions, like, oh, do we rate it too
Yeah,
high,
and keep in
whatever. It's
mind,
like,
Right.
These are all blind tasted
I
by
know.
independent panels. I mean, now maybe some of these are, if they really know the whiskey, they may be able to figure out what they are, and they say, yeah, I'm not going to give this one a good score. I don't
Here's
know.
something else to consider when you're looking at these lists.
Grand Old Par.
I find that you get people that are extremely knowledgeable and you put them together in a room and you have them talk about stuff and they don't always come up with the answer that the common folk would come up with.
That could be true.
Right?
So I'd love to be one of these tasting panels, but I don't think they'll fly me to
now.
London.
I will say we have had our fair share of scotches over the years, and I
Yeah.
think we do a fairly good job of, judging one thing against another. Grand Old Par is only a bronze, huh?
Well, I mean, it's on an 87.
that's
so it's
probably
starting
not
to. I mean, it's an
unfair,
everyday drinker,
but
20 some dollar
That's a good one, man.
blended Scotch. Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's usually everywhere. Not
Look at that.
Indiana, but
At the bottom of the
the
list,
bottom of the list at 85, the
12-year-old single
the
malt
Buna 12
Just barely made the list.
Just
barely made the list.
So that's the other thing that I wonder if
That's crazy.
you get like in your head a little bit, maybe, because you're judging this competition, and I mean, a lot of these people that are doing this have very good palates and are very descriptive, but are you actually tasting it? How, like, I mean, at the end of the day, that's a marketing tool, right? To sell more.
Yeah, how much
booze.
stout is really into this awards list?
I mean, I'm sure that there's definitely some people that go and buy a bottle based on the fact that it has a gold medal.
Yes,
right?
the gold and the gold outstanding is absolutely a marketing tool, but I would not put a IWSC bronze on this bottle because especially the 85 score. That's like, I mean, if the minimum score is 80, that's like barely above. That's like a 1.5.
It's almost too much whiskey for them to slot in and figure out where they sit. You know what I mean? It's like you'd be better off with half of that to really. I feel like it was almost rushed.
Yeah,
just to get through. Like, like, did you really spend enough time with this bottle? Because I mean,
right.
I think this Buna deserves more than the bronze.
It may be I mean, maybe it was a bunch of master distillers.
Now, to be fair, didn't we vote it off the island and it got a call
We
back?
did. We did. I agree. I think I disagreed with that vote, but yes, we voted it off. So
it is what it is.
I'm just saying.
Any given day, I would almost say maybe I like the idea that they're using a panel.
I do too.
Because I think that's
blind.
really a blind panel, I think gives a much more fair representation. I would almost say you have to have like 2 blind panels judging the exact same stuff and then average the scores from those or something to like try and get a more consistent result. I don't know. Like at the end of the day, it's all subjective.
There's some good comments here. Let me pull them up. So everyone, Scotch for Dummies, some of those expensive whiskeys are being humbled by much less expensive whiskeys.
Yep.
You got that right.
That's totally fair.
But humbled is a common word you hear when you do any kind of judging in whiskey.
Yep. I will say the
Honestly.
gold medals were the ones that when I was digging through, I'm like, oh, well, that only got like 1 point better than this other, like, really not expensive whiskey.
Yeah, it could go in
Yeah,
tomorrow. You taste it tomorrow. It's even
And
better,
there was a
right?
couple that we're going to talk about that I'm like, oh, the cheapest bottle in the whole category won that thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wait till we get to that.
Again, that's that blind.
That's awesome.
Blind whiskeys.
I do like seeing that stuff. I really do enjoy the fact that they had whiskeys on like in the gold medal page that are everyday drinker, affordable whiskeys. Like, I don't know if I agree with every call they made, but
seems like
you know,
everyone sent
whatever.
enough samples in or whatnot to get in there.
Right.
So
Absolutely.
Eric Waite says, how many whiskeys does each panel member judge in a day?
I don't have that information.
After 3 drams, they're all getting 90 plus.
Yes,
You're right
could
about
be.
that.
I'm
This is really good. I like
for
this one.
12, and
Good
then
one.
you
I
have
like it.
lunch.
They actually may be professionals and actually spit out their whiskey when they taste it, though.
I don't understand what you're talking about.
Why
I
would
hear
you do
your
that?
words, but I don't understand what you're talking about.
I think Martin says it best there. That's why you do blinds. And then he says, however, when you taste something in a long line of tastings matter.
Yes. When you taste it, yeah.
I will say that's why I kind of liked our King of the Hill last year.
Yeah,
because I think 1 against 1 is a very fair battle.
Yeah, the speed dramming we did earlier was
It's a lot.
a little aggressive. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and you guys ready for next?
You want to hit some silvers?
Let's hit some silvers here.
I'm
So-
tasting this bronze first.
The bronze is good.
If I remember, the silver category had by far the most whiskeys in it. It was like, if you look at their website, it's not
So-
nearly as organized.
let me geek out for a second.
Okay.
I did pivot table this.
Oh, look at that.
And let me sort this by. You mentioned something about how many. So this is just in bronze, right? And so I'm not getting anything now. I messed something up. How about we do?
No, what are you talking about?
It's not showing the. It's not showing the.
That's from the Boone Hub. There it is.
There it is. I got it back. Okay. I said to undo something.
That's all of it, though.
Yes. So let me take care of this. And here we
Okay.
go. And close this. And does it give us a total count?
No.
93.
93 bronzes.
Bronze.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes. And then if you look at, I don't know why this is such a, I zoomed in earlier so they could see. That's why. If you look at the totals here, Chivas, we talked about this earlier. It came out and won. It got 10 awards in the bronze.
In the bronze, yeah. It won the most bronzes, which I guess is okay. I think you probably prefer to have more silvers, but a lot of the Chivas Regals are in that category.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it depends on your price point on some of those, right?
Exactly.
Like 100 Pipers, probably in the right spot.
Right. Yeah, and the Regals in there. So
The Royal Salute.
The 12-year-old Chivas is honestly really good.
It's not bad.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
$30 or something like that. Maybe not even that much now.
All right, let's hit the silvers and see how many are in that one.
And
that
silvers,
category, yeah.
sure. All right, and then we'll go through them. So here's
And then we'll
that
do the
list.
gold and gold outstanding together.
So you said there's a lot more in this. Oh my
Yeah.
god,
320.
Yeah. So
Holy-
keep in mind this is in that 90 to 95 category, 94
Which
category.
I guess that's where a lot of whiskey.
You're talking
right?
a decent whiskey, nothing special, but nothing bad. And there's a lot here. Yeah.
Okay, sorted, done. So I kind of did this one too a little bit. I think it's colored, but
I didn't get a chance to look through the silver very much, so
So lots of
Wild
Johnny
Sky.
Walkers.
I'm just gonna comment as I see it.
I don't know how this is sorted, but so lots of Johnny
I
Walkers.
thought the black was
it's
in
not
the-
sorted by score. Hold on a second.
That was a black sherry.
Ah,
So Johnny Walker Black is in this one, but there's a Johnny Walker Black sherry cask that's in the
There we go. This
gold.
is sorted by score. Sorry.
Okay, so we start at 94. So this is the top of the silver category.
Mhm.
Black Bull 30-year-old.
I didn't know they made a 30-year-old.
Gee, many Christmas. So this is the interesting thing here. There are some pretty old whiskeys in this category, and they got a silver medal.
Yeah.
More-
I'm sharing real quick.
Is that the one? The
I
Royal?
guess it's better than a bronze.
Is that the
right?
malt blend? Is that what we have here? The Royal Salute 21.
Yes, I believe.
This one
Yeah.
might be.
No, this is
Doesn't say in the bottom.
Some signature or
This is blended
something.
Scotch whiskey,
Okay.
Okay.
21 years old.
All right.
Waterproof blended malt Scotch whiskey.
From Macduff. Yeah.
Never heard that one.
Scroll down. See if there's anything that
There's an 18-year-old Highland Park, the Viking Pride.
Kuboken 15.
Oh yeah, 94 on that one.
Mhm.
Jura 18-year-old.
There's a lot more familiar names in this category, I will say. Art Big 25 landed in here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Crazy. They didn't like Ardbeg at all.
I wonder how
Oh, look at this.
SMWS picked bottles to go into this.
That is interesting.
Because that was the very first thing that I saw when I noticed that they had bottles in here. Like you do.
Why bother? I guess just give the
Well,
name
I mean,
in.
I think it's for the prestige, right? Like we're bottling, award-winning whiskeys, for people that aren't aware of them, I guess.
Yeah,
But
that's true. It's
how do you-
advertising.
how do you pick which cask you're going to use?
I would think you
right?
pick your best, but
Glenfiddich
You said
30
decent 12-year-old.
God, Glenfiddich 30. It's a silver.
and the 21.
Then Cadam 25. Man,
Okay,
so
so that Project XX
Is
got
it
the
in here?
exact same score as the 30 and the 21.
right there, down. Big XX.
There it is.
Huh.
Wow.
I beg to differ.
That was not a good bottle.
It was not a good bottle.
Mine will
Old
do it
Pulteney
for you.
Hootart. That's the peated, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
The Devon 12-year-old. We've had that
I've
one.
got Devon, but it's
We've had the
30.
12.
Well,
It
it's,
was
18.
unimpressive.
Well, it's a silver. Virgin Oak.
Oh, the
Decent Virgin Oak.
the Caribbean Reserve Glenlivet is actually decent.
On the decent virgin oak. I mean, it's an inexpensive whiskey, so it's not fantastic, but
that's actually kudos for that, getting silver.
compared to Aberfeldy 21 Madeira cask, gosh, it's so interesting. And it's same score as all these.
You know, what would be really cool is if someone took the time, and I'm not doing it, by the way, took the time and put prices on some of these bottles and ballpark.
Yeah.
Right.
Wow, would you see some craziness? Because that Deanston Virgin Oak, maybe 30 bucks maybe right now. It's probably one of the best bargains you're going to find on a great single malt Scotch.
Yep.
And you look at some of these other ones, like even the 21-year-old and hell, any of these
Glengoyne
guys,
batch,
100
Glengoyne
bucks.
batch 10, same
Right.
score.
Aberfeldy 21 Madeira. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, come on. You get it's crazy.
There's definitely a lot more expensive bottles on this list.
Man, it's so interesting. Chivas 18 is good, man. It's interesting.
It makes you like, okay, so let's pause for a second and let's just spin on that for a second. And by the way, before we get going, let me remove this and call out DBSC's super chat. Halfway through the show. Yeah. Thank you very much. Good to see you.
Cheers.
It's interesting because how much heat have we gotten through the years about why do you guys add price? It's this, or why do you guys? And to me, I feel like when we started this show, damn near 8 years ago, our whole point was the common person walking into a liquor store and finding something
for sure.
And by those rules, you have to look at price because it makes a difference into what you're buying. And hopefully what we're helping you is it worth that price, etc. This list does not take that into account at all.
It's based on palate. I mean, it's palate and nose and all. It's pure.
So whose would you prefer?
Well,
that's my point.
Here's the other thing that I think is, I think the taking price into consideration is at least, it gives a frame of reference. Because if we give a 3.5 on something that we paid $30 for, and then 4 years later, when you go to look at that video and that bottle's now $100.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
It also comes into play in your profile too, because if you're getting into something you don't know what you're talking about, that doesn't have profile on there. So other than it says ex-bourbon or unpeated.
Well, if you click on the whiskey, it does. There is a 2-sentence description of
on the website.
Yeah, on the website.
Okay.
So the website is really good. That's the thing I like about it. It tells you, it gives you the score. It tells you whether it's a vegan whiskey or not. It tells you whether it's biodiverse.
Really?
Yeah, it's a little bit
overkill.
Bizarre. Yeah.
Which whiskeys aren't?
I don't know how you make I don't know how you make a biodiverse whiskey. Maybe it's for the wines.
The vegan.
Yeah.
What do you like? Do they throw they kill some pigs and throw it in the?
Yeah, and most of them say no, they're not vegan.
I'm gonna let you ponder on that one for a little bit. I'm not sure.
Maybe they're worried about the yeast.
Yeah.
Is that an animal? No.
I mean,
well, okay. So we're getting off topic here, but the thing is all this stuff is completely biased on our opinions and their opinions and things. Correct. And you have to look at this knowing, and I think that's kind of, I'm probably going to get crazy soapbox here, but that's kind of the world we're living in right now with, especially if you look at the bourbons and stuff, people are so unaware that they're buying into hype and karma and other things going on out there they think they need to buy versus what do you like? Now, if you've got money to spend and do stuff, have at it, right? If you're a collector, etc.
Yep.
But if you've got if you're a normal person working day to day and stuff, I think you might want to listen to somebody like a whiskey tuber, someone that's actually doing it from the heart, trying to save you some money based on profile and taste versus, hey, here's a whiskey that we think is really great. Well, it's only $50,000, but go buy it.
Everybody on here, I mean, Eric Waite was commenting on Deanston Virgin Oak and that he just did it and was surprised how good it was.
Exceeded his
$39.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely. You don't have to go spend $400 to get a good bottle. Like a lot of the stuff that we did last year, I was surprised by. We had some really good bottles that we.
That's what made that whole series so great, is because even put us to the test. Like, you don't know what's out here, and you think you know, but you really don't know. You don't. You get humbled. And by the way, Glenmoe 10 did really good. Like, what? It's crazy.
There's an answer to your vegan.
So Cohen says that some sherry is not vegan. And that's why the whiskey, what they like line the cask? Well, I guess if you use beeswax to seal the cask, maybe.
That's a lot of work. It's
Yeah.
whiskey.
All right. So we're not going to go into those. I mean, yes. So I do actually recommend all of you go out to the IWSC website because it's another data point for your journey.
I do like the fact that
That's
they
it.
reviewed a ridiculous amount.
Yeah. Let's go back through the list real quick.
Yeah, let's keep going. Let's keep
You
going
want to
through
skip
it.
the
Well, is anything
silvers?
else coming out here real quick that
Yeah, let's go through
Coila,
them pretty quick.
no,
Yeah.
they can only see from like 158 up, so I'm trying to make sure I get up high enough for
Oh, okay.
them. I'm like 21.
There's a lot of whiskeys on here that
I've
There-
not heard
there's
half of
there's
these.
old Pulteney 12 and 15.
Yeah, Glenfiddich
And the silver.
15.
They weren't too fond of the old Pulteneys.
12, really?
The-
You got silver though.
Keep scrolling up to the Balvenie 12 Doublewood, which is, in my opinion, it's pretty.
Johnny
tasty.
Walker Blue.
Oh no!
Blue and red got the same score.
Oh, that is so
Okay,
funny.
so we're
All
starting
right.
to get into like WTF here a little bit.
How is that even possible?
possible?
Like,
Now, okay, hold on, time out. It's possible because they're both blue's very subtle. Like if you don't know you're drinking blue, which
It's even the same lightly peated category.
I can tell you if you give me a glass of blue and a glass of red, I'll
what?
tell
No,
you
no, for sure,
without a doubt,
Yes.
red is going to get a lower score.
But if blue isn't if blue is, what's the category? Lightly peated.
Lightly peated. It's
Like-
barely peated.
It's if you're scoring it based on that, really, you probably wouldn't give it a very high score.
I wouldn't call it
Do you-
lightly peated. It's
Want to hear
barely.
a side story real quick?
Sure.
Sure.
So I had a group come in the restaurant 2-3 weeks ago, somebody's retirement party, and they're upstairs in the lounge, and they started ordering shots of blue.
Okay.
Well, the blue in the lounge is the Ghost and Rare,
Oh,
and they drank 2/3 of that bottle,
Whoa.
but
Did-
they were doing shots of it, and they were like, "This is a lot stronger than I remember blue being." Like, yeah, because it's not.
not blue.
I can
It's
run
not a
downstairs
shooting
and get you
thing.
a regular bottle of blue, but that's not.
You
what
guys made your money
are-
that night.
Yeah.
So what does a shot of Johnny Walker Blue typically go for in like at a regular restaurant?
In my bar or in a normal bar?
Well, okay, both. Let's give you a
like
range.
my bar, I think we're 28, maybe
Wow, that's not bad.
something like that. Like I try to keep the prices reasonable
Yeah.
so people can drink it.
Yeah.
I've seen it in the
Yeah,
60s,
No, I've seen it
70s,
$100 before.
and that's for like
A 1
normal
ounce, yeah.
blue.
Yeah.
You know, not like anything special. So
Yeah, that's pretty interesting.
Hazelburn, Harmony blended. Okay, Shackleton.
That's hazelnut.
Ardbeg
Oh, thank you.
10. Really?
Scroll back. Yeah, keep scrolling up. So that Ardbeg 10 just got a little bit lower score than
You know,
Johnny Blue.
Hmm.
And I know the same score.
wow. Okay, you know what?
One's lightly.
I can see both of those kind of being there. Honestly,
I can see them being in silver.
Yeah.
10's depends, but I can't believe the same exact score though. But
I just had a sip of the 10 earlier and it's delicious. So
yeah, can you hand me that Peat Monster over there?
Yeah, I think I want some Peat Monster too. Actually,
This
18-year-old
is the old
Deanston.
brown
had a-
label too, which
I
is
had a
my
little bit of that and it's
favorite.
delicious.
18-year-old Deanston. I think that's I would agree with that's a silver based on what I know of it.
18 needs some.
Yeah, it's good, but it's nothing to write home about. Badnock.
I don't think the
Glen
founders,
Scotia double cask.
Glenlivet Founders Reserve. I'm going to call that one.
Maybe
Oh,
that should be a bronze.
La Santa is in there. 12-year-old.
Ah.
What?
Nope.
All right,
Yeah,
so
wait, hold on. It's unpeated. It's not. Is it? What's the
yeah,
category?
it's unpeated. It's single malt unpeated.
Yeah, but I thought it had. Isn't it sherry?
Yeah,
is
it
the one
is.
we had sherry?
There's not a I don't think there's a sherry category.
Oh, okay.
Still.
So if we want to go through these fairly fast, because I want to get to the gold and gold.
I know,
Yeah,
but I just
special
it's like
because-
Roll's 300. You're right. So
Valentine's 23.
double doers.
Double. Yeah, the double. Really?
Corey Reckon.
Oh,
What?
yeah, all the
Got a
Corey
91.
reckons. All the Ardbegs.
It's Wee Beastie is
And the same score
same
as Corey
score as
Brecken.
you're crazy, insane
And
in
it
the
got, a high,
memory.
it got a higher score than the Ugadale.
Lecheg 18. Come on.
All right.
Come
So, guys,
on.
I said that I have to have respect. This is one of the most respected ones. We dramatically disagree with some of the scoring,
Yeah,
but
there's some
it's
messed
all
up
blind,
scores.
dude. I mean,
Now I gotta go to this website, find out who
Yeah.
badmouth some of our favorites, and
yeah, because you can see that, and the thing is about the website is, again, you can go to each whiskey, you click on the details about it, it'll tell you who tasted it. You click on the guy's name, and you can see his story.
then it gives you his address.
And
Beat him up.
it does
Knock your
typically
bay.
tell you who they work for, though. So whether it be a master distiller
All right.
at Old Pulteney
Okay.
or whatever.
So that's look
That's
at
the silver.
let's look at
Wow,
gold.
let's go to the
counts
gold.
here.
Do the gold and gold at the same time, because the
Yeah.
the gold outstanding will kick on the top
Okay.
if you sort by.
So this is just a gold counts period. 128.
All right.
Who anybody standing
So
out
still
here?
more than the bronze.
Chivas has still got the most.
Shivas must have put in 100 whiskeys.
They
or
must
something.
have.
I mean, if you got that.
Well,
kind of
William
money,
Grant,
right?
they got
William
15
Grant.
actually.
Yeah, wow, that's a lot.
Oh wow.
Well, the Balvinis kicked in.
Yeah,
there.
they did. Wow. Okay. That's cool.
Airstone got a.
Isn't that a Total Wine?
I'm sorry. Hard pass on that.
But it
one.
got a gold,
I don't
so what?
care.
That's gonna be on their label next year.
I don't.
All right.
Some of this stuff is a little
So we're
goofy.
sorting, sort by.
I'm trying to get there. Hold on.
All right.
Keep talking. I'm a little
Yeah,
slow.
Oh,
you
it's
just-
on.
you-
Oh, you're doing that. Okay.
You do your thing, man. I'm all right. So I think that they've got some hits and some misses thus far.
Yeah, and that's the advantage and disadvantages of having probably 10 or 15, 20 different tasting panels.
How do you score? Like, the one that is really sticking out for me is the Johnny Walker Blue and the Johnny Walker Red.
Same score.
I don't understand that.
Why would I pay 10 times the
And-
price for
And
blue?
I'm not saying they're wrong about putting the blue in the silver category. I'm okay with that. I
Yeah.
just don't think that those two whiskeys should in any way have the same score.
I agree with you. on
Look who decided to join us.
Oh,
that. Look who's that.
who's that guy?
All right. Can we sort by
We're good.
score?
Yep, I think it is by
It's not,
score.
'cause there's a 98 below the 95s.
Oh, you're right. Thank you.
All right. So we're going to start with the top.
Why isn't that sorted?
Maybe.
You got to do by number.
Let me just a second one. There we go.
There you go. All right. So the best whiskey that they rated was a Glen Turret Triple Wood 22 single release single malt Scotch whiskey. So that got a 99.
I'd say that's
That's probably a good whiskey, and probably Glen Turret. I don't know. Maybe it's not even that expensive. Who knows?
did we go by any?
No, we don't
No.
have any of these. So we were looking at this today. Royal Salute 30. Yeah. So these are 98. So these 98s are
Well,
gold outstandings.
But the ones that surprise me are like, it isn't the Royal Salute 62 gun salute, because that's an expensive bottle.
Yeah.
It's the 10-year-old Loch Lomond.
Right.
Yeah,
Where's this guy?
98. Got a 98.
Like that's
Craigellachie 13.
you can go buy that bottle right now at the liquor store for not very much.
Mhm.
Glendronach 21.
Parliament.
Yep.
Parliament.
21-year-old Deanston.
25.
21-year-old Tomental. All right.
And again, these
Holden
are
at
blind.
25.
So
Yeah, that's a good one.
Inchmuren.
Albini 21.
That's a
Wow.
Portwood, though.
And then there's a SMWS bottle there.
Wow, there is.
That's a 98.
Crazy. Was that Flamenco Bravia? I don't know what the hell. that is.
Bravura.
55.74.
And
Somebody
then
out there
and
has
that-
a bottle
What's
of
it? What is that bottle? 55.
and now we're dropping down to 96. So still quite good. And the double doubles, yeah, the double
The double
doubles.
doubles are representing on this
They're
list.
they're
though.
really a good
But
whiskey.
Chivas sent everything they have. So
Yeah, that is true. They pretty much sent their whole lineup.
15-year-old revival. Boom.
There you go.
What did they get? It got 96. That's honestly, that's
Gold Go on the
It's really good.
Balvenie Week of Pete. I love that. I love that. That's up
That's
there.
a great one. Yeah.
55 Royal Brackla.
Really?
Wow,
Yeah.
Dang. Huh.
So I mean, there's a lot of whiskeys on this particular list that I'm like, that's not surprising. Glenfiddich, 23-year-old, I mean, a lot of the ones that are older and more distinguished, but there's definitely some stuff on here.
Well,
that
yeah,
I'm
go
like,
go to line 252. Johnny Walker Black Label, the Sherry Edition, 95. And that's probably what, a $35 bottle or 40 maybe. I don't know what the Sherry Edition costs. That's probably a finishing that we don't have.
That sounds good.
Well,
though.
the Compass Box Artist Blend
Where?
right there, 260 on 262.
Yep.
That's a $35 bottle, right?
And Hedonism. That one's not bad.
Artist Compass Box has quite a few on here as well.
Yeah.
There's
Hedonism.
hedonism. Yeah.
So Aldi, is that like the Aldi grocery store company?
It can't be. It cannot be.
I don't know.
I'm kind of encouraged by how many I'm seeing from Loch Lomond on this gold list. That's interesting to me.
It is because we haven't really got into Loch Lomond that much.
So that may be something you should consider as a genre. That wow, look at all of the
That's a great
high-rated Loch Lomond.
That's a great point. Take this, if anything from this list, take it, sort it by producers and metals, and look at that and say, hey, what's my profile? Does it fit this? And start buying some of those, because that's what I'll probably do.
Yeah, there's some Lechigs in here. Yeah,
I enjoy the fact that Lecheg has a couple on this gold list.
And look, if you keep scrolling up, the Lechig 9-year-old Bordeaux cask, 95, 9-year-old whiskey. It's just amazing.
There's another SMWS in here.
3. Okay, wow. Glendronach there. Colored ice, yeah.
25 and 30-year-old Bunnahabhain.
Wow.
They both scored the same.
And in the 95s now.
Glen Scotia 15-year-old.
Yeah.
Camden 12.
Glen going 21. Oh yeah.
Camden.
I mean, there's a lot of very
Signet.
recognizable.
Nice. The Signet made it. I like that.
Signet. Oh my gosh.
But would you guys put Glenlivet 15 in the gold medal category and not some of those that we saw in the silver and bronze?
Yeah, on the Balvenie 12-year-old Sweet Toast of American Oak.
I love that bottle, actually.
But
great.
But the same score as a 25-year-old.
Well, that just tells you can save some money, Andrew.
Yeah, it takes half as long to make it. So
right?
it's cool.
Like
I'm good with that.
I mean, so let's go through some more, but this we're done.
That's it.
So okay. Pause. Because I got something to say. This list is I'm just gonna say it's bullshit.
But it's an independent tasting, guys. How do
I
we
know,
go
but it's
through that?
bullshit. I feel like it's a throw in the dart of some things out there that may give you some decent ideas of what they are. I think there's some things out there that I'm scratching my head. Like, I don't understand how these, I know it's blind. I get that, but it doesn't make sense at all on how you're rating some of these and you're picking some of these over the others.
We need to get somebody from this committee to come on the show, and we need to talk through some of this. I wonder if we could get somebody from the IWSC to come online and just talk
why
through
their list is bullshit
and talk. Well, because you know that the people who made the list are looking at this going, that doesn't make sense. The 12-year-old and 25-year-old is the same score. They've got to understand that. So they've got to have an explanation for that.
I would say it's not that that there is a 12-year-old and a 25-year-old with the same score, because I can guarantee you we've given some, but I think it's that you have a 12-year-old and a 25-year-old from the same distillery that
brand names,
next to each other. And I don't understand. And just knowing a lot of the whiskeys that we've tried on that list, and there's a good number on there that we've had.
Hell yeah.
And I'm like, there's no way I would ever score that, and that would not ever get the same score.
No way.
It just doesn't make any sense. And now I will say, based on time too. I mean, if we had 8 years back and we're able to do them all again in what, 6 weeks or whatever, it would be interesting to see what we come up with too.
Yeah,
probably bullshit too.
That's fair.
Mark's calling us out.
What do you say?
Yeah, we're not going to get them on after they see this podcast.
I mean,
Yeah, you're probably right. I kind of screwed myself.
Do we need to cut some of that
how
out?
about,
I'll just trim that out. It's
why don't you come on our show so we can all step outside and talk
That's
about
right.
your list?
Let's see how bad this list is. Oh my gosh.
I will say that what I take away from lists like these isn't necessarily that I think they got a bunch of stuff wrong, because I'm sure we get a bunch of stuff
Oh,
wrong.
I
too,
know
and
we
there's
got stuff
always
wrong,
people
sure.
that are probably like, you guys are crazy. on
Yeah,
that,
you guys
right?
are dummies. Yeah. for
But
sure.
I do think that what I do pull out of those is when I see like stuff that we haven't had that I'm like, that's like a $40 bottle.
Yeah.
Or stuff that I haven't had in a long time that I'm like, oh yeah, that was pretty good. I haven't
Mhm.
had that one in a while. And so, I mean, it's kind of a refresher course and things that are interesting.
Yeah.
And I always like to see, an underdog come out on top against, a 30-year-old Scotch that's been,
No kidding.
pampered and has all of the things going for it. And, then some tatted up Lacheg just walks in and is like, I'm going to take that gold medal for everybody. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I
This
think
9-year-old
cool.
whiskey's up against a 30-year-old. Like, hey, throw down, baby. Woo.
I feel like if you're looking at this list, you're not a beginner.
I think
Probably
You're
not.
right. You're right.
You've got some ideas. You've been getting into Scotch for a few months at least, or something, or you've had at least a few bottles on your belt to understand some of this stuff, because it's number one, if you just look at the list alone, you have no idea what you're looking at. It's
Right.
Good luck.
Right.
I mean, right. But I mean, so you have to have an idea. So I think a lot of people, and I'm interested if you're still here and still watching, I'd love to see your comments below on this and say, what do you think about this list? Because I'm curious of the people that are kind of in our genre of drinking whiskeys
Yep.
and scotches. Like, what do you think about this? Is it bullshit to you? Do you think it's actually something that is useful? What are your thoughts in general?
Yeah.
I think a lot of the people that come and watch us are trying to get information either from ourselves or from the whiskey community in general about what we think about, different bottles and stuff. And so it's just another tool, I guess, but I'm not looking for a gold medal on a bottle before I buy it. So, I mean, it's part marketing, but
the question is, if you were in the liquor store and you saw a gold medal on it, would you be more inclined to buy it with a 95 or 96 rating on it?
probably not to be perfectly, but I'm probably not that guy.
Yeah.
Well, to be fair, two things. To be fair, I mean, it was rushed. It was hard. It was 65 samples a day. What Peter was saying, for example, like I can see where things probably got skewed or whatever. But to your point earlier, I think someone said it, like, if nothing else, download the CSV,
Yes.
make your own decisions, sort by producer, and figure out, like, okay, to your point, Sean, like, I'm gonna buy some bottles off this list that I didn't know
Sure.
of, because I'm curious now to
Yeah.
see.
Especially the distilleries that I'm like, I've never had something from them and we've talked about it before, or stuff that got a really high score from somebody that
Yeah.
I'm like, I've never heard from these guys before.
Yeah.
Especially the stuff that got like, what is it? Like the
gold outstanding.
the outstanding golds.
Yep.
I mean, there was some stuff on there that I'm like, that probably be worth a hit. So
All right. Well,
Mark's probably got a couple
Yeah, so-
bottles in his basement.
So Peter Newton has some information there, and that some of the golds are retested, so it goes through another committee and things like that. So he's got some information on there, but I really would like to contact somebody from the committee and see.
don't tell them about our show.
Well, no, I think we need to load them up with what we're coming at them with. I mean, I'm willing to listen. I just don't understand. So you got to explain to me why this is like this.
Yeah, I mean, and I think that I don't think we would disagree with a lot of the calls.
I would agree.
I think that it was just interesting that there were whiskeys that were very different, and obviously one being a better quality whiskey. So how are you guys scoring these? Like, what does this process look like on your end? And is that kind of why they're ending up? Because I saw not just Johnny Walker, but there was a lot of distilleries where like all of their stuff was kind of congregated in a similar
the same
scoring.
Yeah.
They've all got like a 92.
Yeah.
Okay, well, is it because 90% of the points are automatically kind of based off the category, and then there's some subjectivity, but you end up with kind of that similar score?
Yeah,
I don't know.
that Johnny Blue and Johnny Red on the same score. That's pretty
crazy.
suspect.
That's crazy.
And I gotta, that would be one of the first questions. How does that happen? Because those whiskeys are not. If you were the manufacturer and you put these two whiskeys up and they got the same score, you would say, "What are you talking about?"
You know what I would say if I was Johnny Walker? It doesn't matter on the blue because that's going to sell anyway. It's got a great reputation. You know what's going to help? A silver on that bottle
I
of
was
red.
saying red just got some serious promotion.
Yeah,
For real.
yeah, that's true. Yeah.
It did. Our red's just as good as our blue.
They're never
Well,
going to tell anybody that they got the same score.
I think we're in the show on that. No,
All right,
go
that's a great idea.
Johnny Walker Red.
Go Johnny Walker.
Well, there you have
Happy
it.
Thursday.
Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you next week. Hopefully, we'll see Mark soon, and safe travels. Take
Cheers.
care.
3, 2, 1.
Here we go.